This question is crazy. And I'll just say the best strategy here for most of us is going to be to sense the difficulty, to know that it's going to be hard, which I don't think anyone would be confused by that, just looking at how long the question is, but also that we're at the second to last question in the section. This is supposed to be a hard question, so if you are running short on time, you need to know that this is going to be hard and it's going to be time consuming and it might not be worth your time because there are easier questions in the grid in free response section. So if you're short on time, you cannot get bogged down with this. Pick your favorite letter, move on. That's a 25% chance you're right, and then you can get even more points by actually doing the easy questions that are coming. So this is not a high priority for most people. If we're going to try it, though, we just need to kind of narrow our focus a little bit and, try to make sense of each piece of information one at a time. This is really hard, really hard. Okay, so the first sentence almost doesn't matter. The incomplete table above summarizes the number of left-handed students and right-handed students by gender for the 8th grade students at Kiesel Middle School. Okay, that just tells me kind of what I'm looking at, which is kind of obvious. I'm just going to cross that out so that it gets kind of out of our brains here. Let's get rid of it. And let's start with the second sentence. Okay. There are 5 times as many right-handed female students as there are left-handed female students. Okay, so this piece of information, 5 times as many right-handed as left-handed. How could I represent that with some variables? Okay, so the left-handed is smaller, so I'm going to make that my x, and the right-handed is 5 times that, so that's going to be 5x. I don't know what I'm doing with that yet. I'm just doing it because that's kind of the most basic interpretation of those instructions, and I'll figure it out later. The next part of the sentence is similarly kind of just like, well, I'm going to write it down because I can. There are 9 times as many right-handed male students as there are left-handed. Okay, so the same formula kind of fits, but instead of x, because we're a different kind of thing, I'm going to use y. So there are y left-handed male students and 9y right-handed students. If there's a total of 18 left-handed students and 122 right-handed students in the school, which is in the chart, so again, this is kind of a sentence that doesn't really do me any good, so let's just erase it because I kind of already know that to be true. Which of the following is closest to the probability that a right-handed student selected at random is female? Woof! A right-handed student selected at random is female. So this part is going to require that I make a fraction. And whenever we have these chart questions, the denominator of the fraction is really important. Here's the issue. We don't know how many students of each type there are. So we're going to kind of need to figure that out. So I'm going to pause here and not go through the probability piece yet. We know that we're choosing from the right-handed students, so we care about this number of people, 122. And eventually, we're going to get the top number and be able to kind of like do a fraction that we can then put in our calculators and turn into a decimal. So the probability aspect of this is actually really simple. It's just a matter of making a fraction. But in order to make that fraction, we've got to solve for x and y here. Now, it doesn't look like it, but this is a system of equations, right? So we can kind of add down these columns and have that x plus y is equal to 18 and 5x plus 9y is equal to 122. And if they had just given that to you, I think you would have had no problem solving for that, right? It's a system of equations. It's kind of annoying, but it's a pretty basic thing on the SAT. There's a lot of steps, but steps are pretty just kind of robotic. They're very normal algebra steps, and so we can usually solve those with just some perseverance. But we had to make these equations, so it's a lot harder here. But now that we have them, there's some basic steps that we can do to start solving. So let's not worry about it. Let's just kind of solve. So I'm going to even block out the story here. What I would do is I would move things around. So I would take x plus y equals 18, and I would solve for, let's just say, y. It doesn't really matter. So that way I can substitute into this other equation. So now I'm going to take that, and it's going to become 5x plus 9 times 18 minus x is equal to 122. And let's just solve. 9 times both of these, so we get 5x plus 9 times 18 is 162 minus 9x is equal to 122. I'm going to go fast here. Let's subtract 162. We get negative 40. Let's combine like terms. We get negative 4x. And so we then solve for x, and we get x is equal to 10. And because of my original equation, if x plus y is 18, then y has to be 8. So let's do these colors. This is 8, this is 10, therefore this is 50, and this is 72. 50 and 72. So what did we want? We wanted which of the following is close to the probability that a right-handed student selected at random, so of the 122 right-handed students, that they're female, so that's these 50, so 50 out of 122, put it in your calculator, 0.4098, which rounds to 0.410. Whew, this is a mess. This is a mess, this question. This is very difficult. So do the best you can. Like I said, this is not a high priority question. There are many easier points to come, and so you really don't want to get like so fixated on answering everything that you waste another 5-10 minutes on this one question. It's just not worth it. So when you get to this kind of hard zone of the test, you got to start making some choices and think about where is your time going to be best spent. You can always come back to a question like this, but if you spend time doing it and then get it wrong or never get an answer, the time does not come back. And so you've wasted a lot of time and then probably also a lot of points. It's tough. I don't really have any other advice beyond just know yourself and be smart about what you work on and how you spend your time on these sections.